After 2 decades of battling and coming back from the Trojan War, King Odysseus lands naked on the shores of his native island, Ithaca. An introduction on the screen gives a brief summary of his identity and the war. Concurrently, his son Prince Telemachus, who hasn't met his father, suffers from the headaches caused by suitors vying for his mother's hand in marriage. Queen Penelope endures significant pressure from these suitors to pick a new husband to take the throne. One suitor, Eurymachus, threatens Telemachus, but Antinous, the lead suitor, steps in. Antinous tries to convince Telemachus to urge Penelope to choose him, promising protection for Telemachus in order for the island. Yet, Telemachus rejects Antinous's offer, stating that Antinous is as bad as the others. As her father-in-law nears the end of his life, Queen Penelope busies herself with weaving his funeral shroud. Her father-in-law, Laertes, urges her to choose a suitor and end the chaos, but she responds that she will only decide after finishing the shroud. Meanwhile, 2 suitors discover a man in the sea but dismiss him, stating that no additional suitors are required, and toss him back into the water. Soon after, these same suitors pursue a girl on land. When they find she's not in her boyfriend's tent, they murder him in cold blood. Odysseus is found on the shore by the swineherd Eumaeus, who brings him home and cares for his wounds. The following day, another swineherd, Hippo, criticizes Eumaeus for aiding a stranger, warning it might cause trouble. Eumaeus replies that they've yet to turn into animals. As Odysseus recovers, he shares his disturbing memories of the Trojan War with Eumaeus, Hippo, and Philoetios, narrating how he fought alongside Odysseus, defeated the Trojans, and set the city ablaze. Once a formidable king, he's now shattered, laden with the physical and emotional scars of battle. Angrily, Philoetios asks why. At night, Penelope secretly spies on her maids engaging in intimate encounters with the suitors. Each evening, she undoes a section of the burial shroud she has been weaving. One night, Telemachus confronts Penelope, questioning her about her nightly disappearances and accusing her of infidelity due to circulating gossip, not knowing about her secret act of unraveling the shroud. The following day, Telemachus went to see his grandfather, the former king, to take him back to the royal house. However, the old king, now confused and forgetful, had given up hope because he had waited without success for Odysseus to return. Wanting to learn what happened, Telemachus left the island with some people who catch fish, to look for information about his father on the mainland. At the same time, Queen Penelope asked Antinous to help her find Telemachus. Antinous used this chance to try and make her marry him, saying she should pick him and stop talking to the other men who wanted to marry her. He suggested they not kill Telemachus for the moment. Later, Antinous and his men looked for Telemachus at the old king's home, but they found the old king had died. Eumaeus told Odysseus that the king had died, and Odysseus secretly went to the funeral. He watched from behind a tree as the men trying to marry Penelope pushed her to pick one of them, saying Odysseus was definitely dead. She said she would use the shroud as her wedding dress and promised to choose a husband soon. But in private, she wondered how much longer she could handle their constant pressure. The following day, Odysseus requests Eumaeus to accompany him to the palace. Upon their arrival, Odysseus's devoted hunting dog, Argos, identifies him despite the long years apart. Overwhelmed with emotion, Odysseus watches as Argos takes his last breath. Once inside, Odysseus, disguised as a beggar, asks for food, claiming to be a veteran of the Trojan War. Many suitors ridicule and treat him poorly, even throwing food at him. They compel him to fight a large man, whom Odysseus kills. He stays in the palace until night, when a maid tries to expel him. Penelope intervenes, allowing him to remain and converse with her. Odysseus keeps his face in the shadows to prevent Penelope from recognizing him. After their discussion, she instructs the maid to care for him before sending him away. Later, Penelope breaks down, destroying the shroud she has been weaving and crying, as Ali, Odysseus's old nurse, bathes him. She notices a scar on his leg and realizes who he truly is, and Odysseus makes her promise to keep his secret. The following day, Odysseus went to the place where his father was buried, feeling very sad about his death and feeling guilty for going to war and leaving his family. He wished he could see them one more time. At the same time, Telemachus came back from his trip and met his mother, Penelope. She told him to leave the island, saying the men who wanted to marry her saw him as a danger to their plans. But Telemachus said he wouldn't run away. As he left the room, Antinous came in and tried to force Penelope to marry him, saying he would kill Telemachus if she didn't agree. Odysseus thought about leaving the island, but Eumaeus stopped him, telling him that he knew who Odysseus was from the very beginning. Soon after, Telemachus arrived and told Eumaeus to gather the other pig herders because the men trying to marry Penelope and their followers would soon be looking for them. Odysseus suggested to the other men that they hunt down and kill Telemachus. While searching for him, these men hurt other people to find out where Telemachus was, even killing a servant during questioning. They sent out dogs to find his trail. When 2 of the men got close to Telemachus, he couldn't stay quiet and made them aware of where he was. Odysseus quickly hit the man to make him quiet, and then skillfully killed the 2 men who were getting close. Euryalus led a search at Ye's house, looking for clothes to give the dogs a smell, and killed Hippo while doing so. To get away, Odysseus, Telemachus, Eumaeus, and their friends hid behind a waterfall near a small lake, successfully confusing the dog's trail. Even though things were getting worse on Ithaca, both with the government and the money, and Odysseus hadn't brought back any soldiers from Ithaca, Telemachus was upset to find out that Odysseus was his father. He reluctantly accepted that Odysseus had been gone for many years. At the same time, Penelope had to make a choice because Aeneas caught her undoing her weaving. News spread among the men trying to marry her that Penelope would pick a husband the next day, and they all gathered at the palace. Penelope announced she wouldn't choose a husband, but would instead test them by having them shoot an arrow through the holes of 12 axe heads, without touching any of them, using Odysseus's old bow. The men objected, saying it was an impossible shot that no one could do. Penelope replied that Odysseus had done it before. Each man tried the challenge, but none of them could even bend the bow. Odysseus requested to try the archery challenge, and the queen agreed. As he walked up, he warmed the bow by the fire, despite the men trying to marry her making fun of him. He didn't let their teasing bother him, and he managed to bend the bow and shoot the arrow perfectly through all the axe heads, which completely surprised everyone. The men told Odysseus to go away, but suddenly, everyone panicked when he started shooting them one after another. He told Penelope and Telemachus to leave the room, but Telemachus decided to stay and help his father. He locked the doors so no one could get out. Once Odysseus ran out of arrows, he started fighting the remaining men with his hands, and Telemachus joined him. When Aeneas gave up, Penelope, who was tired of all the fighting and wanted peace, begged Telemachus not to kill him. However, to her great sadness, Telemachus killed him anyway. Telemachus, wanting to find out who he really was and what his future held, said he needed to go on a sea journey. Meanwhile, Odysseus saw that Penelope was using a bed he didn't recognize. He was curious and went up to a secret room where he found their old bed, which Penelope had hidden when he left for the Trojan War. She told him that they needed to face and remember the past before they could move on. They realized that understanding and accepting what had happened was necessary to let go of it. A picture of Telemachus's ship being destroyed in the ocean is shown, following a scene where Odysseus' blood is being cleaned in a bowl. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell if you want to watch more videos like this. Thanks and see you again soon. Take care.